My name is Ryan Miller, and I've spent the last 15 years helping hundreds of people just like you to raise millions of dollars for their funds and for their startups. I am on a mission to help investors and founders to create new jobs, extreme wealth, and the dream life they deserve. Join me as we peel back the curtains and explore fresh ideas and dynamic personalities as we all move toward our dreams of making billions. Let's get into it. In this week's episode, I have my friend Anthony Calpas. Anthony and I go deep on how he went from a software engineer fighting actual pirates off the coast of Africa into his career as an investment expert on all things crypto. You don't want to miss it. Plus, Anthony shares his primer on what the Metaverse is and where he believes the next wave of profitable ventures in this space will be, so that you too can get one step closer to making billions. Here we go. Hey, welcome to another episode of Making Billions. I'm your host, Ryan Miller, and today we have one of my best friends, Anthony Calpas. Anthony is the managing director and founder of Cryptocurrency Capital. It is a crypto fund that invests in the underlying infrastructure of crypto and cryptocurrencies. He's going to get in and tell us all kinds of stuff. So, Anthony, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ryan. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. So Anthony, you're originally from, I believe, Paris, France, living in London, England. I mean, we're gonna open you up here, and you're gonna tell us. You have one of the coolest backgrounds that I told my 6-year-old son, and his jaw dropped. So I'm excited to let the world know exactly who you are and what makes you. Yeah. So this is great. So Anthony, tell us a little bit about you. I mean, I know you started out as a software engineer that specialized in cryptography, kind of a convenient training
to be for cryptocurrencies, right?
Yeah. So here you are. Bring us into this moment where this young Anthony with dreams of the world and crypto and software, and you've done some amazing things. I won't steal your thunder. Tell us something about pirates. I mean, this is great. So go ahead, talk us through your experience.
So young Anthony was, torn between action stuff and nerd stuff. I mean, I've always been a nerd, I've always worn glasses. I've always loved mathematics and, computing and stuff like that. Yeah. But at the same time, I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to get some actions in my life. Yeah. So the best way for me to do that was to go as far as I could in academically speaking. So I went to engineering school. I graduated in software and in cryptography engineering, in software engineering and in cryptography. And right after school, I just enrolled in the Navy, with
the French Navy. The French
Navy, yes, absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
And when you do that kind of job, you just travel the world, and for that matter, we spent a while off the shores of Eastern Africa fighting piracy, because at the time it was a big thing. Yeah. That was the action part of it. And when I was not deployed abroad on that military battleship, I was back in France, working as an aerospace engineer for the army, still for the military. And I worked on all kind of missiles, aerospace systems, drones, basically anything that both fly and is a weapon system.
My goodness.
So my specialty was, taking care of designing and assessing software and cryptographic systems that are embedded in this kind of aerospace military systems.
That is outstanding. And so that's the part where I told my 6-year-old that I was like, one of my friends used to fight pirates off the coast of Africa. He didn't believe me. I was like, no, I swear he really did. So here we are, the inner 12-year-old is I'm pretty giddy right now. So you fought pirates off the coast of Africa. You were a captain in the French Navy. And during this time, you were in charge of the tactical situations. Also, second part, as you said, is you worked on missile systems, the cryptography component of that. So missiles, nukes, drones, jets, the whole system, fighting pirates. I mean, we could just have a show about how cool that is alone, but this is not why the listeners are here. So you go from that, Okay, so you get good. You're working as an aerospace engineer. You're working as a software engineer. You're working on missile systems. You're fighting pirates. How do you become a fund manager of Karakara Capital? Like how do you go from that point to managing assets and understanding the cryptoverse?
So surprisingly, I mean, the transition is more natural than it may look, actually. So I was a software and cryptographic engineer, right? And at first, I approached cryptocurrencies from a very scientific point of view. I used to read articles about it. I used to review articles about, cryptographic systems. And obviously, cryptocurrencies and anything like blockchain related is just, it's a branch of software engineering, basically.
Yeah.
So I got into it from an intellectual point of view, so to speak. And after a while, I started to invest by myself. I started in 2017. And I did quite well for myself. Like, apart from that, I was doing a bit of trading on stocks, on the commodities, and so on. So my point is, I already had a foot into investments with my personal money. But things went really, really, really well with cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
And people was asking me a lot of questions. Like, and by people I mean my friends, families, colleagues. And I was like, I mean, the interest is there. There is traction. So how about structuring myself as a fund, as an investment fund, so that people can benefit from my knowledge. So they would just basically being limited partners, investing in my fund, and I will deploy their capital on their behalf, leveraging my expertise in a software and in cryptography, so that I can identify what kind of projects can actually stand the test of time. Because this is what I'm all about, I want to be like the Warren Buffett of the cryptocurrency investments. Like, I want to be on the long term.
Well, you're with your story. You're certainly the right kind of BAMF to pull that off. So I think this is going to be fun. Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. So you go from that. So you became an expert in that area. Among other things, you understood tactics, you understood command, leadership. And yeah, okay, I get it now. It really is a natural transition to take a lot of those skills, technical skills, but also the soft skills and communication and leadership to stand up your own fund. 506C, I believe. And so it's a US fund.
506C.
Yeah. And so now you've become somewhat of an expert on crypto and the metaverse. Excellent. And so we're going to have we're going to bring you back on the show, talk about crypto, but right today we're going to talk about the metaverse. Absolutely. So maybe you could walk us through a little bit of the metaverse, like for people just starting out, right? Some people know it and that's fine. Fast forward. But for those of you who's just trying to understand, what's just a basic primer on the metaverse? What is it? And then we could talk about who the key players are.
So, like the term metaverse, number one, the term is a term that has been hyped lately. But when you think about it, metaverses have been existing like for years. Basically, a metaverse is a video game. Like if you take if you consider a video game like a GTA, for instance, with an entire city, or The Sims, or a Second Life. Yeah, they are like digital worlds, right? They are just like digital numeric worlds where you can just go around and drive and do whatever you want. So then the term metaverse came in, but I would say that the real innovation and the real like new aspect of it is the combination of metaverse, so digital worlds, and blockchain technologies, because up until recently, so up until maybe 2-3 years ago, big like companies, like big video games developers, had some kind of very one-way top-down interaction with their user base. So basically, they would just develop video games, and by the way, that takes years to develop a full and comprehensive video game. And then they will sell it to the players, and the players have no say in it. They don't make money, the players, they just play, right? But thanks to blockchain technologies, it's possible to build like in-game items that belong to the players. Basically, the blockchain technology ensures the true ownership of a few items like land parcels or some kind of sword or armors or any kind of things. Really, it can be a race car, it can be like a house, whatever you might think of. And this is what we basically call the metaverse. It's basically the combination of a very immersive 3D, like, digital world with the blockchain technology, and sharing, interaction and transaction between individuals and communities.
Okay, so like the earlier iterations of games, you mentioned The Sims and GTA and these other places, Second Life, but then there's also a fresher component of blockchain technology combining those, and we'll get into a little bit of the different components that you mentioned, and that's essentially the metaverse. So an immersive game or world, I think, would be more appropriate. An immersive world with blockchain technology.
Immersive world, immersive universe.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So who are the key players right now? Like who, right? Like this is really just, it's like building a Lego house, a Lego world where there's, you've got gaming, you've got branding, you've got events, you've got all these different creators, and the metaverse is the place where they meet up, and together they're able to create this cool world out of their own interests. Kind of sounds like capitalism to me. But yeah, so you get these people that are able to work together to create something. So maybe walk us through, like, who are some of the key players, key components? What's going on in the metaverse? Let's take it deep.
So basically, I'm sure you've heard of like very traditional video games like League of Legends or World of Warcraft, right?
Yeah.
Like the equivalent of those very famous, well-known games in the traditional world, in the blockchain industry, they are basically Decentraland and the Sandbox. Like those, and there are many others, of course. There are at least hundreds of projects in the metaverse. But those two ones, the Sandbox and Decentraland, they are the ones that are by far the most advanced and the more that have the most like the bigger adoption, basically. Okay. And as you very well said a bit earlier, it's a bit like a Lego game where everybody is contributing anyhow or in any way he or she wants. Like a lot of like different brands. So like in the Sandbox, for instance, like some brands, some companies have purchased lands. So what it means is that basically you have, again, like a full like immersive universe, and a company like Binance, for instance, which is one of the biggest crypto exchanges in the world, they have purchased a land in like on the map. So
they purchase land in Sandbox or Decentraland. They purchase digital land, so to speak.
Digital land, absolutely.
Crazy.
And they have true ownership over this, and they can develop whatever they want on that land. They can decide to build some kind of stadium, or they can decide to have their headquarters on that digital world, where people could come and maybe trade cryptocurrencies directly in their headquarters in the decentralized world. There are like real world, like, and supposedly not related to the blockchain industry, but there are some companies that have made the jump already, like Louis Vuitton, for instance. They have purchased a store in Decentraland, so you can just go in that store, and again, like, you need to imagine yourself as going into the metaverse with your avatar. So you will be just walking into that store and see the different items of Louis Vuitton's bag and I don't know, scarves or whatever they are selling. I'm not really into fashion, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of people are attracted by that. We can mention as well a casino that has been open on Decentraland, and I've read recently that this casino attracted 1/3 of the players of Decentraland for a period of time. 1/3. It's huge. It's really
That's
huge.
A big casino.
It is a big casino. Like, people could just walk into that casino and gamble, play poker with very nice 3D animations and stuff like that, So, at the end of the day, you might tell yourself, hey, I mean, how is it different from gambling online? I mean, there are a lot of poker websites, right? But they are able to propose some kind of immersive, like very different experience that just attract people. And basically, it all boils down to how attractive the experience that you are proposing is in the metaverse.
Okay, so you're right. So you're like, yeah, okay, like there's Sims and GTA, there's these things where you interact with the world. There's online gambling, like these things kind of exist. So what's the differentiator? And from what I'm hearing from you is saying, yeah, you can do that online, but it's not the same experience. So sounds like if we could summarize that in a word, the metaverse is really an experience. Would you agree?
It is an experience.
Okay, so people are experiencing similar things that they already have, but in a different way. So, sounds like, go ahead.
Yeah. Not only they are experiencing, like, not only they have a different experience, but they can also interact in a different way. Because whereas, I was telling earlier how some brands had a like only top-down type of relationship with their user base.
Yeah.
It's much more interactive, much more inclusive. Like on some land parcels, for instance, some company can ask their community, whatever community that they are developing on that land, ask what type of development they want to see on that land. Maybe some people would prefer to have a casino. Some other people would prefer to have some kind of stadium. Some other people would prefer to have who knows, like some kind of library. Who knows,
Yeah.
And not only that, but they could also decide how to interact with each other, like how much this item is worth, or what is tradable, what is not tradable, who can get in that zone, who cannot get in that area, and so on. So yeah, it is the experience and also the interaction between users.
Experience and interaction. Awesome. I love that. I never thought about it that way, but you're absolutely right. So you mentioned so people may be able to vote on what they want to see, whether they want to see a field of corn in some projects, or a casino, or who knows what, or car dealership, or a store. And I know one of the store, after talking to you earlier, another part of this experience and interaction that other people are jumping on is like branding, storefronts. Can you maybe walk me through some of the stuff that you understand?
Yeah. So basically, I mean, going back again to the traditional world, because I like, when I talk to people, I like, drawing some parallel with what they already know. Yeah. So when malls emerged, people like malls attracted people. So brands opened shops in malls, and people went to malls, right? Sure. Once the internet emerged, people went on the internet to purchase stuff, like e-commerce type of business. Yeah. And now the metaverse is so compelling, like it's such a compelling experience that people are going there, and brands are like, we might do some things there, right? There might be some money to grab from that new universe, and a lot of them are migrating from like the internet as we know it today, like physical, like brick and mortar stores, and they are migrating into the metaverse. This being said, now it's they are not like those companies, like, and I will talk about Nike a bit later on. They are not like tech companies natively, right? So a lot of them are approaching this the wrong way. And what Nike did, and I think that it was a very smart move, they just acquired a company that is native from that space, a Web3 company. The name of the company, it's an acronym. It's RTFK, something like that. RFTK, and that company was in the business of creating digital items like shoes and very like realistically looking shirts and wearables, basically. And Nike just went like, okay, we're going to purchase you, and you're going to take care of our presence in the metaverse. And guess what? It was a smart move, because Nike had an immense success in the metaverse, partnering with that particular company. And now people can just walk into the Nike store on not online, but in the metaverse, in the 3D metaverse, and see their last collection, or their rarest pairs of shoe, and so on. And so it's very exciting.
Oh my goodness! So Nike buys this, and I know there's Onyx Lounge, I think they call it, which is essentially a bank that JP Morgan built in the metaverse as well. Onyx.
Yeah, so big banks are getting into HSBC as well, one of the biggest banks.
HSBC, yeah, you're right. So there is some big companies that are blazing the trail on this new frontier. That's got to tell you something. If there's that much investment going into this thing, odds are pretty good that this is moving forward. We've only just begun. And so branding on the storefronts, we've got Nike, we've got banking, we've got, like you mentioned, casinos.
Yeah, Louis Vuitton. I mean, they're all kind of
Louis
Adidas
Vuitton.
As well. Adidas has basically followed Nike. I mean, they will at some point they will all rush in. They will all rush in into the metaverse.
But go ahead.
Yeah, but the big question is, like, what brand will be able to propose the best, like the most compelling user experience, to attract and to retain people. Nike, in my opinion, Nike has already succeeded. But I didn't look into the strategy of Adidas, but we might think that some companies will try new strategies that will just fail. The point is, if they are not able to create some very compelling content, very interesting ones, like that are immersive and compelling, my bet is that they will just fail in the metaverse.
So be good. So your advice, or at least your we'll call it prophecy, to put a little drama on that, but your viewpoint would be, hey, it's not enough just to be there. I mean, yeah, you got to be there, but really, if you're going to stay there, sounds like from what you're saying is you've got to create experiences for people. You got to, right? Whether it's an immersive experience, a buying experience, an entertainment experience, whatever that is.
Exactly,
people who are
like event driven and so on, so that people can want to keep going back to you. Basically, I mean, it's like on when you have a website on the internet as we know it today, Internet 2.0. You can create a website, but I mean, if no one knows about it, no one will come to your website. And if it is of no use, no one will use it. No one will go into it. But if you have a very good-looking website that solves a real-world problem and or that entertains people, people will just keep going back at it because it's good. It's enjoyable.
That's awesome. So you mentioned in earlier discussions, you gave me the example of buying a vacuum. And, what you went through, just regular, like you and I, we go to the store, buy a vacuum, figure it out. And you walked me through the parallel of buying a vacuum in the metaverse. So what's that experience expected to be like?
Sure. So what did I do to buy my vacuum? I did like a lot of people nowadays. I went on Amazon and I scrolled down. I mean, I had my criteria and so on. But now in the metaverse, there are many projects that are addressing that point, that e-commerce point. But there is one that I have in mind. The name of that metaverse project is High Street.
High Street? Okay.
High Street, and they are looking to basically propose the same type of e-commerce activity as you can find on Amazon. And you can imagine that basically soon you will have your VR, like your virtual reality goggles, like headset, and you'll be like, okay, I need some kind of a vacuum, and you will select your criteria, and you will have, I don't know, a selection of 5, 6, 7 vacuums like floating in the air, their hologram, floating in the air with their technical specifications because they match what you've entered in terms of criteria. And you'll just like with your actual hand, you will just pick one of those vacuum, and the VR will the VR headset will detect that you've picked that one, and an order will be sent to your bank account that will make the purchase, and that's it. And a few days later, or maybe even the same day, you will get the vacuum at your house in the real world. And that's what the metaverse is going to propose, basically. And very long term, and I assume that we'll touch a bit on it a bit later on. But long term, like the metaverse is going to be like the merge of like virtual reality and reality. So basically, it's going to be like highly augmented reality, basically.
I love it. So you play poker in the morning, and then on your lunch break, go buy a vacuum and.
Absolutely.
Get back at it.
Profits from poker.
That's awesome. I mean, what a cool thing. And so we talked about gaming, Sandbox, Decentraland. We talk about branding and storefronts. And not only do they create products, but they create experiences around those products. Those are the ones who you think are the ones not only to invest in, but the ones that will stick around. And then also, in talking to you before, you mentioned that there's concerts in the metaverse as well, like real artists, not just the visual artists creating what you see, but also what you hear and experience. So there's musicians and other talented artists. Can you walk me through a little bit about that experience in the metaverse?
All kind of concerts. I mean, it's so crazy, and in my opinion, it's going to be the place where we see one of the biggest upside in like, because obviously like everything, there are sectors, so there are different sectors in the metaverse, and the sector of the music entertainment is going to be big, and more and more artists are getting into it, like Tyler Ross or Snoop Dogg or Rihanna. They are all doing concerts in the metaverse already.
Right.
Like Snoop Dogg, I saw a tweet from Snoop Dogg earlier, a few days ago, and he was saying that's a bargain, and he was referring to someone who purchased a piece of land next to his house, where he's making concerts in the digital world. But that person purchased that piece of land for $450,000. You know. And he was like, I mean, of course that's a bargain, because I mean, how many millions of people will come to Snoop Dogg's place to attend his concerts? So that person who purchased that land might, set up any kind of activity on that land, and that person will see traffic, and same with a lot of other artists. They are all getting into it. They are all, issuing their own NFT collections and so on, and it's very exciting. And this is a bit like of a gold nugget that I'm sharing with you now. But there is this project called Animal Concert.
Animal Concert, yeah.
Stage,
but tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you firsthand that they will go very far, very strongly. It's going to be amazing. I mean, they've already contracted partnerships with like tier 1 type of stars, and they have the technology to make the experience very immersive and compelling. It's going to be very amazing.
Holy smokes. Wow, that is absolutely crazy. So you can go on, and we'll get into VR headsets and everything. So basically, you put on a VR if you really want to get immersed. You don't need it from what you're telling me. You don't need the VR headset, but not quite the same experience. But with it, you can go to these concerts. You have headphones. It controls a lot of your senses. You can experience things that you just can't in IRL. So moving on. Still on this topic of the metaverse, but that's where it is. And I think if you're an investor, you also want to know, well, where is it going?
Where it's going,
So walk us through a little bit about not only just where it is, but where do you see things going? What are some of the constraints right now that, because problems and opportunities, at least in the investment world, are kind of the same thing. So those problems that are being solved, walk us through a little bit about the future and where you see it going from here.
Sure. So I do believe that the 3 areas where we will see the most, like the biggest upside, is going to be in event, number 1, in video gaming, number 2, and in like a store brand, like a branding. So like real world companies going into the metaverse to provide content and purchase land there. This being said now, I do believe that there is one condition under which the metaverse will absolutely blow, and that's when VR headsets will become better quality and more affordable, because we all know about Oculus Rift or the Samsung VR headset, and they are good. I mean, I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying that they are not like as powerful as they should in order to create something like we can see in Ready Player One, the movie, and that type of VR headsets, they are being in development, but they are very, very expensive. I mean, people like you and I cannot afford it. I mean, it's a few tens of thousands of dollars, and only professionals, buy this to do whatever. So when we have the hardware when the hardware to make the experience absolutely immersive, like you cannot distinguish from reality, like between reality and metaverse. When this type of hardware becomes more affordable, after that, it's going to be just, exponential, absolutely exponential. And so events will be more and more immersive. And like, imagine a world where basically you wake up in the morning, so it is a weekday, right? So you need to go to work, but you stay at home because everybody now, like more and more people, especially after COVID, are working from home. So you will just like put your VR headset on, and you will jump into some kind of meeting room with, like you and I are doing, but instead of having that 2D, two-dimensional
2D.
interface. We will be like 3D. You will be like by my side, and I would like we will be sharing the same table. Maybe we could just we could even like share documents, PDF, whatever, newspaper. Like I could display some kind of map or image to you in 3D. So very, very inclusive, very interactive. And then when we are done with that meeting, discussing about how to solve the biggest world's challenge, you can take a break, and at a snap of your fingers, boom, you are on the top of your favorite mountain, like Himalaya mountain, for instance, or you're on the moon. Who knows? Like, who knows where you want to be, right? And after a while on the moon, you get bored, so you call some friends of yours, and you decide to play a shooting game on the moon, and you will be like using your hand, like holding some kind of imaginary guns, but the VR headset will detect your motions and so on. And I mean, this is where we are going with the metaverse. And after playing this game with your friend, while playing this game with your friend, you will make money, because that a game that has been developed by a community would reward you for participating into that game, because you make the game lively. You provide like players availability, because other players around the world want to play with with humans instead of playing against some kind of artificial intelligence. It's really, the only limit is not even the sky. It's beyond imagination.
Wow, that is incredible. So you can have a business meeting, then you go play some game on the moon, or just travel.
Or just travel.
Yeah, we talked about
jump into a concert that is offered by Rihanna, or who knows what.
Holy cow! So that is absolutely amazing, and I know there was really one impressive headset, Xtal. I think it was a $5,800 headset. That's really expensive. For other options are a few $100 as well. So I think what we're saying here, just to kind of round that thought out, is okay, there's still some work that needs to be done, but even now it's still pretty cool, but such an early time, and it's only going to get better. One of the constraints or the opportunities right now are the makers of the headsets, the hardware to match the vision. So there's this great vision. There's a lot of great things happening. We need the hardware technology to catch up. So I would assume we need some breakthroughs on battery technology, graphics, processing power.
Graphics.
Yeah, and so as we get better batteries, better graphics, better processing power in these headsets, it's really going to bring that ultimate vision to life. Would you agree?
Absolutely agree. And that one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is, of course, it's one thing to have, a universe, like some kind of virgin universe that exists, but we need to populate it, right? So then comes the companies or people or stakeholders that will create those experiences available in the metaverse,
right?
And anybody can take part in it. Like you can take part in it, I can take part in it. Anybody can take part in it. You can purchase land in the metaverse and decide to develop that land. Like some crypto projects, some metaverse projects, they do not even ask you to purchase anything. They give you. They give you, like, they grant you a piece of land, and it's up to you to do whatever you want with it. So the particular project that I'm thinking of is called a Nifty Island. So people can just register on Nifty Island. They will get one island granted to them, and they can propose content. So your podcast, for instance, can be there, can be on in that island, in one of those islands, and you could arrange a space so that it's a very Caribbean type of vibe. People will just sit around you and the panelists. And it's all about experience and content creation. So this content creation part is going to be huge. It's going to play a big role in it, because the same way in real world real estate we say location. I mean, if you don't have the right location, don't purchase that property, right? In the metaverse, it's going to be content creation. If the quality of your content is not like to its best, no one will come, or maybe people will come but they will not come back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's very important that people are aware of that. People get aware of that, and yeah, there are various ways to get involved into it. As you said earlier, the companies that are developing the VR hardware are the one to be watched if you want to purchase some equity in those companies. Yeah. But in that sense, I mean, if you want to do that, well, you need to contact some kind of venture capital fund, right?
Yeah.
So that's for purchasing like equity. If you want to, I mean, there are other ways to get involved in terms of investment.
I love that. So let's talk about that, because that is exactly what I'm wondering about, and I'm sure many of our listeners and our guests are wondering that as well. So, hey, Ryan and Anthony, this is great. It's cool to learn about this stuff. But people listen to this kind of podcast the podcast is called Making Billions, and there will be billions made from this. Where are the areas on how to profit? Let's walk through the actual how to. What are some areas, some tangible places that a lot of our listeners, our fans, how do they make money off this? As cool as it is, show me the money.
Good question. So let's take the example of video gaming, for instance. I do believe that the video gaming sector is one of the ones that will grow drastically with the metaverse and that kind of blockchain technology. Yeah. So there is something called play to earn. So I mean, it might sound unbelievable. I mean, it's almost too good to be true, right? Too beautiful to be true. But by just playing a game like Star Atlas, for instance, it's one of those games. DeFi Kingdom is another one. There are many games, Axie Infinity as well. By just playing, you earn tokens. Like the platform,
like crypto, like Bitcoin, like the underlying token, crypto. Okay,
you earn crypto tokens, and this is one way of making money. Obviously, if you want to invest long term, the big game is to be able to to identify which video game will attract most people, or which metaverse, or which platform, because I'm not sure people understood when I explained a bit earlier what the metaverse is, but I want to clarify a point. There are many metaverses. There is not only one metaverse. It's like every project creates its own metaverse, its own digital universe, and it's one metaverse on its own. In a far future, it's possible that all those metaverses communicate with each other, so that they can be somehow interoperable. I'm quite confident into it, but right now it's quite siloed. But anyway, when you want to invest in the metaverse, you can purchase the tokens that are natives from that metaverse, hoping that this metaverse is the one who will be able to propose the best experiences, may it be in terms of concert or in casino or in stores like a Nike store, for instance.
So what are some of those currencies? Those underlying tokens. What are they?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier the Sandbox and Decentraland. So the Sandbox token is called SAND, S-A-N-D. The token of Decentraland is called MANA, M-A-N-A. So these are the tokens that are native from those platforms. You also have a metaverse that I like a lot, which is called Terra Virtua. The token is TVKT. And there are a few tokens like that. And like some games as well, like DeFi Kingdoms, like Tribeland. Tribeland is one of those metaverse video game based on the Solana blockchain, where you can also purchase their tokens. And I have no doubt that this video game will just go up very drastically, because I mean, from day one they have integrated into their project, into their roadmap, all those hardware revolutions that we've talked about a bit earlier, and they have a very compelling play to earn plan. So yeah, people like players will want to play that game, like in a very addictive way. So yeah, these are my favorite ones. I love Gala games as well. Gala games is a one to watch.
Wow. So investing in the underlying tokens, you give us Sand, Mana, a few other ones. And what about someone a little more, we'll say, traditional? to say, well, I don't know about this. Meta is, people may not be completely sold on it. There are still ways you can benefit from the development of that if you kind of believe, which is maybe buy the stocks of some of those hardware companies that you're saying are solving those issues.
Absolutely.
So Samsung, Oculus, there's a lot of these companies out there that you could just buy shares in that company and also profit from their success in the meta.
And Facebook as well, and they have rebranded themselves as Meta. I mean, it's a big signal. It's a really big signal. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg
he's all in. Yeah,
he's all in. He believes that the metaverse is the future of the internet, and that's why he rebranded his company Meta. So yeah, it tells it all. And basically, like, either stocks or tokens, or you can participate into the development of the metaverse by playing or participating into the governance or creating content, and thereby you will earn tokens, and you will benefit from the upside.
Oh my goodness! And so
our fund is all about infrastructures, and there are a few infrastructures tokens that I can think of specifically dedicated to video gaming and the metaverse.
Sure.
So your audience might want to have a look at Engine Coin. Engine is spelled ENJIN. There is its counterpart in the Polkadot ecosystem that is called Efinity, EFINITY. Like those type of projects, I mean, they are building the technological blocks to make game developments and metaverse developments seamless, and everybody will be able to create any in-games items or any type of metaverse very easily. And I mean, the value proposition is just it's through the roof.
Yeah, that's outstanding. So for those listening, like, find Anthony, reach out to him. You're a very generous guy as I've gotten to know you. You're certainly someone I consider as an expert in your field. And so we talked about buying the stock of some of those companies who are investing heavily into Meta. As you said, Meta literally has been rebranded from Facebook. You also talked about buying the underlying tokens. So that gets you a little closer to the action, I would say. Sand, Mana, from
Engine, Infinity,
Gala
Games, Axie, yeah.
So, and then the third one, third area, and I'd love to get your opinion on this, is you mentioned a couple times about buying land, right? So to speak, digital land, whatever that is, $450,000 next to Snoop Dogg's concert. So how does someone buy that land? I mean, I know the answer, but walk our listeners through, because this is also another way to profit from that. A third avenue.
Yeah. So basically, number one, you need to choose in what metaverse you want to buy land. Like, do you want to buy land in Decentraland? Do you want to buy land in the Sandbox? Do you want to buy land in another metaverse? You have to choose first, and then most of the time you go directly on the platform of that metaverse. So for instance, the Sandbox. You type the Sandbox on your Google web bar, and you can purchase land by in exchange of their token, basically. And then you will have a parcel of land that is yours and no one else's. It's like an NFT. Actually, it is an NFT.
That's exactly it.
And this NFT belongs to you, and it proves that Ryan has this little parcel of land at that place in the metaverse. And after that, so you can choose to buy and hold and do nothing with that land, but you can also choose to develop that land.
Sure.
And going back to that content creation that I insist so much on, if you develop that land, you build something like some kind of casino or stadium, or who knows, like your podcast, like some kind of channel, like who knows. It's up to you. People will go to that land, and that activity, that content created will be attached to that NFT land, and then you can sell that land on second marketplaces like OpenSea. OpenSea is like the number one marketplace to purchase NFT, generally speaking. Not only really related to the metaverse. It's like the Coinbase of the NFT world, basically. So OpenSea.
Okay. That's where you buy the NFT. So buying the land or really any asset is you're buying an NFT.
Yeah, exactly.
And then where it's stored, housed, and used is within the metaverse. Is that
exactly?
Yeah. Okay. And then OpenSea, like not SEA, OpenSea.
Open
is
SEA, like the sea, like
yeah. So that's your marketplace for NFTs. So that's one of the ones. That's
it's one of
that
them.
You prefer.
We can name as well Rarible. So Rarible is RARIBLE. There is also X2Y2. There is a LuxRare. I mean, there are a lot of marketplaces. But the most known ones is OpenSea. Definitely OpenSea.
That's awesome.
What?
That's awesome.
Yeah, and one thing that is very interesting is that in the real world with real estate, you have all kind of data on that particular neighborhood or that particular block, what apartment got sold or what property got sold at what price and when and by who and so on and so forth. And well, there is the same thing in the metaverse. There is a website called Dune Analytic. If you type on Google like Dune Analytic, like real estate metaverse or something like that, it should show up first on the webpage. Basically, Dune is that kind of website that it is a data aggregator, and it provides all kind of dashboards on many different sectors about many different blockchains, basically. And they have this particular dashboard that gives you, the fluctuation of the price for each metaverse, for each land. There are some people that are specializing into real estate, into metaverse real estate, basically.
Yeah.
So they purchase land, they develop it, and then they sell it back. It's becoming a real activity, a real industry.
Wow. So these are the new frontiers. And given the show, this is a lot of venture capital, private equity, private investments, startup founders. There's all kinds of people that listen to this show. Well, that's enough for me and Anthony, everybody. So pay attention to the metaverse, invest in it through stocks of the company. You can buy NFTs or the underlying tokens. Anthony gave us a whole huge list. We'll include a lot of those links in the description below. Of different areas where you can buy those NFTs, tokens, in other areas where we can make billions from the metaverse. So keep grinding on your goals. Keep focusing on making billions, developing your skills. Keep coming back here to learn a little bit more, and you too will have the skills you need in making billions. Wow, what a show. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Now, if you haven't done so already, be sure to leave a comment and review on new ideas and guests you want me to bring on for future episodes. Plus, why don't you head over to YouTube and see extra takes while you get to know our guests even better. And make sure to come back for our next episode where we dive even deeper into the people, the process, and the perspectives of both investors and founders. Until then, my friends, stay hungry, focus on your goals, and keep grinding towards your dream of making billions.